I'm back from Japan. I was there for over 2 months to do research, and this time I came back with so much interesting stuff that I want to show you a little bit of at least, and then I can go through it in subsequent videos. But let's start where I started, which was in February 2025 when I went to Comitia 151. It is a doujinshi event held at Tokyo Big Sight, Japan's biggest conference venue. And it is focused on original doujinshi, so no parodies. And that makes it different from Comic Market and other events. And I sort of like that. I like that everything is original works, both erotic and non-erotic. And speaking of erotic, at Comitia I met Nagayama Kaoru, who wrote Eromanga Studies. So he gave me the latest issue of Manga Ronso, his magazine, where I was interviewed, by the way, a few issues back. And I bought Eromanga Studies, which is his book on Eromanga. It's a classic from, I think, 2006, but this small and cute edition has some extra material, I think, and he signed it for me. I was also given, I think, what is he called? Mushizuka Mushizo is his pen name, I think, a history of SF and Bishoujo. And interestingly, Amazon was there as well and marketed their Kindle platform, which is interesting because Kindle is, Amazon have quite strict rules about which erotic content is allowed on their platform. But anyway, they wanted to market it. And as long as we're in the Eromanga domain, I went to Jimbocho, the town for second-hand books, and bought Yonezawa Yoshihiro's book Sengo Eromanga Shi, so post-war Eromanga history. He is the founder or the co-founder of Comic Market, and this book is from the 1990s, I think. He's dead now. And this will be a bit of a challenge to read, but it's like all Eromanga books, it's very focused on male readers and female characters. My research is about male characters, young male characters, boy characters. And there is a part that is about BL here in the back. We'll see what he writes about it. I also bought the 100 Best Eromangas, which features both Nagayama Kaoru and Kimi Rito, authors which works I have read before. Again, this is also male readers and female characters. But anyway, it can be interesting. However, Yoshimoto Taimatsu, he is a Shota researcher, and I met him again on this trip, and he gave me his last 2 doujinshi, which came about in a bit of a sad way, you could say, because he has got cancer. But it seems he's healing well and is getting the right treatment. So this doujinshi series, which he has published in 4 volumes so far, is about how he got his cancer and how he's being treated for it. So I really admire how he can turn something so terrible into something productive and creative. So I've only read the first volume so far because it's quite full of medical expressions and stuff that I want to look up. But it is quite heart-gripping, actually. Okay, then we have the mainstream manga. I wanted to see what has happened with the Shota trend in mainstream manga, which was so evident when I lived in Japan in 2023. And now, in 2025, it is still there, I would say. The king of all Shota-influenced mainstream manga is definitely Shota Oni. I remember when the 3rd volume of the tankobon, the paperback volumes, was released, I went to Animate in Ikebukuro and they had devoted 2 full shelves to Shota Oni. This time I first bought volume 5 and read it. And it's interesting because I always thought that Shota Oni was not so good because the story is too sweet and nothing really happens. But in the 5th volume there is a conflict, I would say, and there is a row. So it became interesting. And as I was in Japan the 6th volume of Shota Onni had its Hatsubai, so its release. So I went to Animate in Ikebukuro again to see if they again had devoted 2 full shelves to it, which they had not. I couldn't actually find it, so I needed to ask someone who worked there. Unfortunately, my friend didn't film exactly when I found it because the camera screwed up. But it's fun because when you buy something like this, when I bought the 6th volume, the man behind the counter got me this little profile book as a little gift. So whatever you buy at Animate, especially if it's something with a special edition, which this is, it was a little bit more expensive, comes with a special book, then you get a little present, little presento. So that's Shota Onni. And when I was at Animate Ikebukuro, I also found these, which I'm not really sure what it is. This boy might be a woman, actually, I'm not sure, but it says it's BL, so I hope not. And then a friend recommended me Shonen no Ato, which seems to be quite a dark story about a woman and a boy. I think it's from 2019, so these trends move slowly because, of course, it takes time to make a manga. And by the way, I just want to mention that all of these books are available on Amazon. They are not NSFW, which I call not safe for West. This one, though, Hikaru ga shinda natsu, so the summer that Hikaru died, is interesting because I saw this one at Animate in Shinjuku in 2023, but instead of buying this one, I bought Thunder 3 because this one sounded so sad. But then actually a viewer of my YouTube videos recommended me this one, and thank you for that because it was really sweet and interesting. These are the first 2 volumes. It says it has sold in over 900,000 copies. And Shota Onni, by the way, Shota Onni has now sold in 830,000 copies and will be made into an anime, so that's how popular it is. More mainstream, this is just because I went to Book Off a lot, a bookstore for secondhand books, and just bought various, I don't know what this is, but I also bought Yowamushi Pedaru, some kind of special book. I think it's a tribute to Yowamushi Pedaru, so this is actually chapters made by other manga artists, but I like how it is so focused on, it's a bit fan service. It's almost in the domain of amateur comics, doujinshi, but it's not because it's an official publication. Shaman King, Unko, Summer Wars. Oh, 2. Okay, so these were just things that I picked up. You might have seen Gon before in my videos, because this is my favorite figure, Gon Freaks from Hunter x Hunter. I think this figure is brilliant, but I think I bought it in 2011 or 2012, and it was time for a new one. So when I saw this one, I immediately bought it. I actually bought it together with Kirua for the first time, because I thought it could be nice if Gon has a friend. And I also bought Pegasus Seiya from Saint Seiya. I have a rule when it comes to figures, which is that I am only allowed to buy them if I have a relation to that series or a relation to that figure. If I make an exception, as I did when I bought Kaworu from Evangelion, then I have to watch that series afterwards so that I can get a relation. That was also the case when I found Ikizawa Kazuma from Summer Wars, because that is such a brilliant figure and I have never ever seen it again. I don't have it anymore, unfortunately, but I hope that he is doing well in his new home. So, over to something interesting. I went to a lot of second-hand stores in Japan. So I went, for example, to Mandarake in Akihabara. And there I found the very first issue of Jume, June, which is this extremely important BL magazine from the 1970s and 80s. It was first called June, and then it changed name to June, and it had this style of reminding of Taggio in Death in Venice, Björn Andresen. The first issues also featured photos, as you can see here, which has become a little bit taboo later, but in the beginning they were part of this whole infatuation with the young boy. This, though, turned out to be a novel, a short story magazine, so it's not a manga, mainly at least, and it wasn't as interesting as I thought it would be. But in the same store, on another shelf, I found the very first issue of June, Comic June. So what June was before. And this is fantastic. I think this is Takemiya Keiko. And there are photos here as well. I think this is fantastic because it's such an... This boy is a different creature. And this is... here we have photos. And there's a fold out as well. Look. I have to be careful here. Oh, here he is, Björn Andresen, Death in Venice. Illustrated by Kenkish Sato. Okay. Yeah, so this will be fun to look into a bit deeper. It's lots of comics. And I love this. Readers, writers, editors, bedroom. Readers, writers, and editors' bedroom. Okay, so here they can fraternize together. Really happy to have this one. Oh, and this is also an example of what you can buy at Mandarake. I found this one at Mandarake in Ikebukuro, where... So this is Haru from the Korean group 17 or something like that. I'm not very kuashi, I'm not very knowledgeable about these boy groups, but 2D and 3D, fictional characters and actual people. What is this? Is this a real person, or is this also a fictional character? Which I would argue that it is. It's a carefully curated or groomed character. Just because it's a photo, it doesn't mean that it's real. I went to Mandarake, Akihabara, Ikebukuro, and lastly Nakano Broadway. And there they always have so much interesting stuff. So in the Mania, they have many different Mandarake stores there. And in the Mania store, I just picked up various interesting old manga, which had interesting and relevant covers or back covers, and also Gundam W. They are very relevant, and I will get back to all of this, obviously. In Jimbocho, at various shops in Jimbocho, I found, and it's not such hard to find because it's everywhere, Tetsujin Nijuhachi Go, with the character Kaneda Shotaro. So this is the character that the genre Shota is based on, Shotaro-kun. That's why it's called Shota. And so I thought it was important to have a little bit of Tetsujin Nijuhachi Go. And here too there are many, this one is from the 1960s. There are many illustrations, a lot of imagery that is important in various ways. This is, actually let's get back to that. But it's crucial that he is wearing short shorts. And I mean, look at this. It's not even such a good illustration. He has very fat legs and so on, but it's a symbolic representation. It's a symbolic representation of the boy. That's what makes it so interesting. The last thing I bought, and I completely splurged here, by the way, is this. So this was at the Mania store at Mandarake in Nakano Broadway. And I found Grandzoto. Grandzoto is an anime from, I think, the late 1980s, made by Sunrise Studios. It's sort of a follow-up to Wataru, because Wataru became so successful. So in Grandzoto, the protagonist is called Daichi, and he's a little bit older than Wataru was. Actually, Wataru was 9, Daichi is 11. And Daichi became extremely popular as a kind of ideal, cute boy. So at Mandarake in Nakano Broadway, I found lots of works about not only Grandzoto, of course, but I focused on Grandzoto because I couldn't buy everything. It was quite expensive also. And these are fantastic. I mean, look, it's like a fan book, but an official fan book for the anime series. Yeah, they were like 2,000 to 3,000 yen each. Okay, this one. Have a look at this one. So I have not even opened these ones yet, but this is a perfect example of chiralism. First of all, he has all the Shota items. He has a skateboard, he has a tank top, or even smaller, and he has a plaster in his face. So he's a wild boy who is out there and getting dirty. Those are all important concepts in Shota. But as he is jumping, his tank top is fluttering in the air and it's exposing his skin, which is shiny. This is chiralism, this is titillation, and and I love that it's done not by a fan, but rather in an official book about Grandzoto. So I'm very curious to see what this is actually. And as a print person, I also love that it has 2 spot colors on the cover. You have silver and you also have orange, this Pantone 804, which I love. So it's a fluorescent color. As always, I found a few books about how to draw manga, which I just love, you know. The key to drawing manga is to just do it and not to read books about it. But anyway, so this is a 30-day manga drawing drill. This one, which I found at Animating Nikebukuro, is school environments. So how to draw school environments, probably with a lot of examples. And I think that's also fun because school is such an important theme in manga and anime and in doujinshi. So it even has its own book about how to draw that environment in the best way. And then I bought Manga no Manga, so the manga about manga, part 1 and 2, which is apparently quite a popular book in Japan. These are reprints. And it seems that it's maybe a little bit similar to Understanding Comics, Scott McCloud, which I really loved. So this is sort of the same thing, but in Japanese maybe. So I look forward to reading that one. And of course, as always, I bought a calendar for myself and a table calendar as well. It's not a coincidence that it starts with 4 or April, Shigatsu. First I thought that it's just because as time goes by they update the calendars so that you don't have to buy one with months that have already passed. And that might be it, but I think another reason is that the school year begins in April and also the company year, the Nyusha. So there's Nyugaku and Nyusha, so people who come into the companies and start the year in April. So April is a little bit of a new start in Japan, I think. Just to wrap up, every time I go to Japan, when I'm at the airport, I buy a copy of the latest Jump, because it's quite heavy and big. So when I am at the airport and I have checked in everything, then I know that I'm in the clear. So then I buy one. So it's my souvenir from Japan every time I go there. And I can also count how many times I have been to Japan by counting the number of Jumps. Except for the last time I was there, I had to buy Korokoro instead because they were out of Jump. Crisps from Kyushu, which I got from a research participant. That was really nice of him because he was from Kyushu and he always stocks up on these when he is in Kyushu. But now that he was back in Tokyo, he had a stock of them and he gave me this one because they don't sell this in Tokyo. And then we have another practice book. I have this one for N2, and now I bought it for N1 as well. I don't have any ambition to write the N1 level test of the Japanese language proficiency test, JLPT, but you know. I started doing Goshuin. I didn't know what it was, but I got this from a sweet friend when we met up, and I have started to fill it out. And lastly, I also went to Shanghai and I bought Mao's little red book along with a little bookmark from Oriental Pearl, the tower that I went up in. Yeah, so that's a little bit of, I think